I am, as I said, Brian Young, the executive director, and I'll just be giving some context here. So it won't be, the people who miss it won't miss much. It'll just be me talking, and the content for the rest of the day, we'll be digging in on organizing, how people are using Action Builder, other tools, organizing in your workplace. Got a really good program coming up at 11 o'clock. I'll be talking with Erica Hime from Jobs to Move America. So we've got a lot of great conversations. But first, I'll set the scene a little bit by just talking about how we started with Action Builder and what really we're about both today, how that hooks into what we're doing, and just, the vision about organizing that brought this about. Action Network is a mobilization tool. And, career-wise, that's where I was at when we started Action Network as a digital director. But before that, I was actually worked in TV and film and IBEW member. So any IBEW brothers and sisters in the house, hello. So the very first place I worked, the first two places I worked, two TV stations, one was non-union and one was union. And they were very, very similar in most ways: size, market size, income, revenue. The first one was non-union, second was union. When I got to the second one, suddenly my job was so much better. The treatment of me and the workers was so much better because we had a union. And so, private sector union was built into my experience from the beginning. And I could see the power of collective bargaining, collective action, and organizing. And I did some volunteer organizing, both sort of in a union context and also some community organizing, variety of twists and turns. I ended up in digital politics, and Action Network was great, and the mobilization, the efficiency of mobilization of digital tools has changed a lot about politics and activism, but it was always had a gap for me, which was really the kind of depth and power and sustained power that you can get from real organizing. So first we started to look for a tool to integrate with, and really found there wasn't any out there, and which wasn't a surprise because I had still been in touch with a lot of organizers. And there was always a conversation about organizing with people from technology that it was very condescending. It's like, you guys should get with the program, get with the modern age and start using technology. But there just wasn't anything good for organizing. And, it really struck home with me, the Women's March in 2017, used Action Network, obviously a big, very successful historic event, millions of people around the world. And, they had huddles, kind of 2 weeks later, they called them huddles, which were basically organizing events. They wanted small scale events, hand raisers, local leaders starting to have events in their living rooms. And they had 5,500 of these around the country. And then there was nowhere to go with technology. I really saw the limits of sort of mobilization technology to really build power. And no coincidence, that's the name of the event today, because we really focus on what tools and techniques can really build power. And we, as I said, there was always a condescending conversation around technology and organizing. And the problem was that people weren't building to organizing. They're trying to drag organizing into technology. But organizing is about relationships. It's about conversations. It's about building leadership within communities. And, I remember going to Silicon Valley after the Women's March, and, where tech people suddenly wanted to talk to us. And, I was talking about what we wanted to build next. And, people in Silicon Valley were talking about, well, how are you going to incorporate the blockchain? Like, the blockchain? Shut up. I don't care about the blockchain. I care about people talking to people and building power in their communities. So, we had already had a good relationship with the AFL-CIO, and then Secretary Treasurer Schuler, now President Schuler, was really a supporter and engaged in what we were doing on the Action Network side with a partnership with the AFL-CIO. So talking with the team over there, in the organizing team, Christian Sweeney there, and really, sort of digging in with Liz Schuler about what we could build together to really empower organizing. And the result was Action Builder. But all along, talking with them, we also worked with People's Action on the community side. the conversation was not just about technology. Technology analogy I often make is that technology is like having a woodworking studio. It's great and it can make your work faster and more effective, but it's not doing the work. Organizers do the work, and building community around organizing, finding places where we as a community, as a movement, can get together and talk about some of the both, the just best practices, classic organizing, but how we can update some of those, how we can use technology to make our work as a movement more effective, more powerful, quicker, more efficient, everything that we can build power to scale that we never have before. And that's really the basis of the whole effort of what we're doing. We're nonprofit. All of our tools are nonprofit owned. We are a nonprofit because we're mission focused, and the technology is just a means to an end. And gatherings like this are about the end. It's about getting together and really talking through how we can build power, how we can use technology, yes, like I said, but really the work of doing it. So we're going to do a program today, but this is just one moment. We're going to have an in-person for those of you who are around the DC area. We're going to get together, and we are always experimenting with more ways to help everyone use our tools, but not just our tools, places where we can pull people together and find, if someone has a great idea and has had a lot of success, we want everyone to have that benefit of that knowledge and build out. If, we're working with some folks and trying some things, and if they don't work, we want to hear that too. So, this is about organizing. It's about centering organizing, and that has been the philosophy of our development design as well. For those of you who know, we have a cooperative design model. So when we built Action Builder, as I mentioned earlier, it was really about building technology to organizing. So we centered organizers throughout the development process, and this event and the conversations, throughout is the same thing. All of your work as organizers is what we are trying to empower. And I hope that everyone hears something today that's helpful, can dive in with questions, can find time to connect with people and follow up the conversations later. And this is the second Build Power. We did one last year. We'll do another one next year, and we'll keep doing these until we win. We'll keep doing these and just finding ways that we can come together. So if you have suggestions afterwards, reach out, other ideas for ways that we can sort of build our collective capacity to build towards the economic justice, worker power, everything we're trying to organize for. And, the last point I'll make is that this is not just about sort of our tools or even the sort of techniques and tactics that a lot of the great guests will be talking about today. I'm in a lot of conversations about organizing. A lot of our movement's infrastructure is built around mobilization. If you think about the voter file is a very sort of flat way of looking at people, and it doesn't really get into the relationships and leadership development that is key to building power. It's about sort of mobilizing people around elections. So, this is a continuous process of really trying to help and contribute everything we can to building a future that centers organizing, centers community, centers the leaders that we are developing, we as organizers, I include everyone here on the call, to build that progressive power. And, a lot of the conversations today will be centering on worker organizing, and that's a lot of what we have been working on as well. But like I said, one of the conversations with Erica that I'm talking about is, how, worker power, it's really about developing leaders, and leaders show up in all parts of their communities. So every leader that we develop in a workplace is also has the skills to be a leader in their neighborhood, for justice and all the intersectionality of all the issues that we work on. So, we're really excited about this. It is both it's a daunting challenge in a good way, because there's so much that we can do and so much that we collectively need to do to get to where, we have a society that really reflects the values that we want. But there is so much potential. There's so many people sort of working on that, and a lot of them are here on this call. So thank you for joining. I hope you get a lot out of today. If you're in DC, I hope to see you for the happy hour. And I will turn over to Martha, who will go through some of the logistics of the day and talk through some of the sessions. So thank you all for coming. Thank you all for the work that you do. And I hope I will see you soon.
Thank you, Brian. So I just want to quickly run through the logistics. As Brian mentioned, this is our second Build Power. So we did Build Power 2021 last summer, Build Power 2022 today. What we found worked really well is having separate Zoom sessions for each of our Zooms. So in your link to the run of show for today, you will see a different Zoom session for each of our webinars. So just click that link a couple minutes before start time, and we'll let you in at 10 a.m., 11 a.m., noon, 1, and 2 for each of those sessions. We have a pretty packed day today. So starting in just a few minutes, we're going to be talking with conductor and union rep Johnny Walker of CSX Benning Road, Southeast DC, and he is also the secretary of the Maryland State Legislative Board for Smart TD. As many of you know, the railroad workers have been facing substantial workplace issues. And we're going to hear about this year's contract negotiations, what the path forward looks like, and we're also going to dig into a vision for solidarity for sick leave for all. So I think that's going to be a really exciting discussion. Honestly, all of these discussions, I wish we were doing each one all day because there's so much ground to cover. After that, at 11 a.m., as Brian mentioned, he will be joining Erica Iheme, the Deputy Director for Jobs to Move America, for a conversation about the role of community building, organizing, and research in creating the future we need. So Erica will be sharing stories from the front lines with Bessemer workers and how community solidarity can sustain worker organizing and be an integral part of creating a just world. At noon, we're going to be doing a brown bag lunch. I'll be walking you through Action Builder and really highlighting all of the great development that has been done this year because of our wonderful cooperative development process. I've been leading that cooperative development process for the past 5 years. We're going to be handing over the reins to a new product manager next year, and I'll be moving into a director of product strategy role. So I'm really excited to walk you through the development that we've been doing and also highlight a little bit of what's to come and what has been prioritized by our cooperative development working group. At 1 p.m., we're going to be joined by Lauren Byers, Service Unit Director at United Faculty of Florida, to hear about how they've used constant organizing on campus to fight back against bad legislation, and specifically an attempt to eliminate the union from campuses across the state that was done by the state legislature last year. And then at 2 p.m., a great session, Our Values in Action, Union Organizing in the Progressive Movement. Action Network's Amy Chin-Lai, who is the VP of Representation at the Nonprofit Professional Employees Union, also the solutions engineer here at Action Network, will be joined by representatives of MPU and the Campaign Workers Guild to talk about why all of you, if you're not unionized already, should join a union. We need more unions in the progressive space. Every worker should be unionized. So we have a packed agenda today. Really excited for you to join us for as many sessions as you can. We are going to be recording all of this. It's going to go up on YouTube. So appreciate you sharing it with your coworkers. And we'll be getting just started in just a few minutes. The other quick note is that we are hosting an in-person happy hour this evening, and most of today's guest speakers will be joining us there. So if you wanted to talk to folks more, dig in with them, hear their perspectives, we'd love to have you come. Jeff is going to drop the link to that happy hour RSVP form in the chat. And that is also a live podcast. Maximilian Alvarez will be interviewing Harry Marino, who is the executive director for, excuse me, Executive Director of Advocates for Minor Leaguers, and Michelle Valentin-Nieves, the Executive Secretary and founding member of the Amazon Labor Union. So it's going to be a great conversation. We're really excited to see you there. So don't forget, click those different links in the RSVP document, and we are excited to see you for the rest of the day. Thanks, everybody. See you soon.